The big police officer grabbed the biker's arm hard, very hard. The biker fell to his knees right there on the diner floor. Blood came from his head. His hands were tied behind his back with metal cuffs that cut into his skin. "Please stop," Rosa shouted. Her voice shook. Her hand shook too. "You are hurting him." The police officer turned to look at Rosa. His face was red and angry. "Stay out of this, lady. This is police work." But Rosa did not stay quiet. She could not stay quiet. Not when she saw something so wrong happening right in front of her eyes. Not in her diner. Not in the place where everyone should feel safe. This is the true story of Rosa Mae Jenkins, a black woman who ran a small diner in a tiny town, a woman who had seen too much pain in her life, a woman who chose to be brave when everyone else looked away. Rosa was 53 years old. She had kind brown eyes that crinkled at the corners when she smiled. Her hair was black and gray, pulled back in a neat bun. She wore a blue apron over her dress every single day. That apron had seen a lot: coffee stains, grease spots, tears, joy, life. Rosa had owned Mae's Diner for 20 years. 20 long years of waking up at 4 in the morning, of cooking eggs and bacon, of pouring coffee, of listening to people's problems, of being there when nobody else was. Her diner sat on the corner of Main Street in the small town of Copper Falls. The town only had 2,000 people. Everyone knew everyone, and everyone knew Rosa. The diner was small, just 10 tables and a long counter with red stools. The walls were yellow, painted by Rosa's own hands. Pictures hung everywhere. Pictures of her daughter. Pictures of happy customers. Pictures of better days. Rosa had not always owned a diner. No, life had been much harder before. She grew up poor. Very poor. Her mama cleaned houses for white families. Her papa worked in a factory until his back gave out. Rosa learned early that life was not fair. That some people had everything while others had nothing. That the color of your skin could decide if people treated you good or bad. When Rosa was 20, she married a man named James. James had a good heart, but bad luck. He worked hard at the mill. They had one daughter, sweet little Keisha. Life was not easy, but it was good. They had love. They had each other. Then James got sick. Cancer. The bad kind. The kind that eats you up from the inside. Rosa watched her strong husband become weak, watched him fade away like smoke. The hospital bills took everything they had. Everything. James died on a Tuesday. Rosa was 33 years old and alone with a 10-year-old daughter. But Rosa was strong, stronger than she knew. She worked 3 jobs. She cleaned houses like her mama did. She worked at the grocery store. She waited tables at night. She saved every single penny. 10 years later, she bought the old diner on Main Street. She named it Mae's Diner after her mama. She wanted to make her mama proud. And she did. The diner became the heart of Copper Falls. People came for Rosa's cooking, for her warm smile, for the way she made everyone feel like family. Rosa hired local kids who needed jobs. She gave free meals to anyone who was hungry. She never asked questions. If you needed help, Rosa was there. But not everyone liked Rosa. No. Some people in town still looked at her and saw only her skin color. They whispered. They complained. They said terrible things. The police chief, Chief Hartley, was one of those people. He was a big man with mean eyes and a meaner heart. He did not like that a black woman owned the best diner in town. He looked for reasons to cause trouble. He sent officers to check Rosa's permits, to look for problems with the food, to find any reason to shut her down. But Rosa kept everything perfect, clean, legal, right. Chief Hartley could not touch her, and that made him more angry. Rosa learned to keep her head down, to smile even when people were cruel, to survive. That was what you did when you were black in a small town. You survived. But that Tuesday changed everything. It was a normal morning. The sun was shining. Birds were singing. Rosa was flipping pancakes and humming to herself. The diner was half full. Farmers eating breakfast before heading to their fields. Old men drinking coffee and arguing about football. Then the door opened hard. Bang! 3 police officers walked in. But they were not there for breakfast. They dragged someone between them. A man in a leather vest covered in patches. A biker. His face was bloody. His hands were cuffed behind his back. They threw him into a booth. The biker's name was Diesel. He was big and rough-looking, with tattoos covering his arms. His vest had patches that said, Hell's Angels. His gray beard was long and wild. He looked scary to most people. But Rosa did not see scary. She saw a human being in pain. "What is going on?" Rosa asked. She walked over, holding her spatula. "Stay back," one officer said. Officer Davis. He was young and nervous. "This man is dangerous." "Dangerous?" Rosa looked at Diesel. He was bleeding from his head. His eye was swelling shut. His lip was split open. "He looks hurt." "He resisted arrest," the third officer said. That was Officer Murphy. He was known for being rough, for using his fists first and asking questions later. But it was the police chief who spoke next. Chief Hartley himself walked through the door. He smiled, but it was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a snake. "Rosa," he said, "we need to use your diner to process this criminal. He was speeding through town. When we tried to stop him, he ran. Then he fought us." Rosa looked at Diesel. The biker shook his head slowly. "No, that was not true." "Is that right?" Rosa asked Diesel. "Don't talk to him," Chief Hartley shouted. "This is official police business." But Rosa kept looking at Diesel. She knew that look in his eyes. She had seen it before. In her husband's eyes, when the doctors gave up on him. In her daughter's eyes, when kids at school were cruel. In her own eyes, when she looked in the mirror after a hard day. It was the look of someone who was not being treated right. Someone who was helpless. Someone who needed help. "I want to hear his side," Rosa said quietly. The diner went silent. Everyone stopped eating, stopped drinking, stopped breathing. Chief Hartley's face turned red. "You want to hear his side? This criminal's side?" "Yes," Rosa said. Her voice was steady now, strong. "Everyone deserves to tell their side." Officer Murphy laughed. It was a mean laugh. "You defending this biker trash? This Hell's Angel? You know what they are? They are criminals, drug dealers, thieves." Rosa set down her spatula. She walked closer. "All I see is a man who is bleeding in my diner. A man who looks like he was beaten. That is what I see." "Rosa," Chief Hartley said slowly, "you need to be very careful right now. Very careful. You are getting involved in something that is none of your business." "This is my diner," Rosa said. "That makes it my business." The chief stepped closer to Rosa. He was much bigger than her. He looked down at her with hard eyes. "Are you refusing to cooperate with the police?" Rosa's heart was beating so fast. She was scared, terrified, but she thought about her mama, about her husband, about her daughter, about every time she had to bow her head and take unfair treatment. Not today. Not in her diner. "I am saying that man needs a doctor," Rosa said. "Look at him. He is hurt bad." "He hurt himself resisting," Officer Murphy said. "That is not true." Diesel spoke for the first time. His voice was rough and deep. "I did not resist nothing. I pulled over when they told me to. They yanked me off my bike, started hitting me for no reason." "Shut up!" Chief Hartley kicked the booth. Diesel flinched. Rosa felt something inside her break. Or maybe it was not breaking. Maybe it was waking up. All the years of staying quiet, of being careful, of being scared, it all melted away. She stepped between the chief and Diesel. "Get away from him," she said. The whole diner gasped. Chief Hartley stared at Rosa like she had grown 2 heads. "What did you say?" "I said get away from him. You are not going to hurt him anymore. Not in my diner. Way." "Rosa, move," Officer Davis said. He sounded worried, scared even. But Rosa did not move. Chief Hartley grabbed Rosa's arm. Hard. "You are making a big mistake, Rosa. A very big mistake." Rosa looked right into his eyes. "The only mistake is letting you treat people like this. I have stayed quiet too long. Watched too much. Not anymore." The chief's grip got tighter. It hurt, but Rosa did not cry out. Then something amazing happened. Old Mr. Peterson, a farmer who ate at the diner every morning, stood up. "Chief," he said, "let her go." Then Mrs. Chen, who owned the grocery store, stood up too. "She is right. That man needs a doctor." One by one, everyone in the diner stood up. They all looked at the chief. Chief Hartley looked around. His face was purple now, angry, but he let go of Rosa's arm. "Fine," he said. "We will take him to the station, process him there. But Rosa, this is not over, not even close." The officers pulled Diesel up rough. He groaned in pain. They dragged him toward the door. Rosa followed. "Wait, where are you taking him?" "To jail, where criminals belong," Chief Hartley said. Rosa watched them push Diesel out the door. She saw the biker look back at her. Their eyes met for just a second. His eyes said, "Thank you. Thank you for trying. Thank you for caring. Thank you for being brave." When no one else was. Then he was gone. Rosa stood in the doorway. Her whole body was shaking now. What had she done? She had just stood up to the police chief. She had just made an enemy of the most powerful man in town. Mrs. Chen came up beside her. Put a hand on Rosa's shoulder. "You did good, honey. Real good." But Rosa was not so sure. She touched her arm where the chief had grabbed her. It was already starting to bruise. That night, Rosa could not sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the biker, about his bloody face, about the way the police had treated him. She thought about calling her daughter Keisha. Keisha lived in the city now. She was a teacher. Rosa was so proud of her. But what would she say? That she might lose the diner? That she might go to jail? That she had finally stood up for what was right and now everything might fall apart? No. Rosa got out of bed, made herself tea, sat at her kitchen table, the same table where she had cried when James died, where she had paid bills she could barely afford, where she had dreamed of a better life. She wondered about Diesel. Was he okay? Was he in a cell somewhere, still bleeding? Did he have family who knew where he was? She wondered if she should have stayed quiet, if she should have just let the police do what they wanted. But deep down, Rosa knew the truth. She knew she had done the right thing, even if it cost her everything. Because some things are more important than safety, more important than money, more important than fitting in. Standing up for what is right, that is the most important thing of all. Rosa finished her tea. She washed the cup. She went back to bed. And this time, she slept. Not well, but she slept. Tomorrow she would open the diner. She would cook. She would serve. She would smile. Because that is what Rosa did. She kept going, no matter what. But Rosa Mae Jenkins had no idea that tomorrow would change her life forever. She had no idea that her small act of kindness would become something much bigger, something amazing. She had no idea that 300 bikers were getting a phone call. A call from Diesel's brother. A call that said one of their own had been beaten by cops, and that a brave black woman had tried to protect him. She had no idea that those 300 bikers were already starting their engines, already planning a ride to Copper Falls, already deciding to show Rosa that kindness is never forgotten. Tomorrow, the roar of 300 motorcycles would echo through the streets of Copper Falls, and nothing would ever be the same. Rosa woke up at 4 in the morning, just like always. Her body hurt. Her arm was purple and blue where the chief had grabbed her, but she got up anyway. She showered, got dressed, put on her blue apron, looked in the mirror. The woman looking back at her looked tired, older, but also different somehow. Stronger, maybe. Rosa drove to the diner in her old truck. The streets were dark and empty. Copper Falls was still sleeping. She parked in the back and unlocked the door. The diner was quiet, peaceful. She turned on the lights, started the coffee, began cooking. This was her routine. This was what kept her sane. But today felt different. Wrong somehow, like a storm was coming. At 5:30, her cook arrived. Tommy was a young man, only 22, with bright red hair and a good heart. Rosa had hired him when no one else would. He had been in trouble as a kid, but he was trying to do better. "Morning, Miss Rosa," Tommy said. Then he saw her arm. "What happened to you?" Rosa pulled down her sleeve. "Nothing, just bumped into something." Tommy did not look like he believed her, but he did not push. At 6, the diner opened. Rosa unlocked the front door, flipped the sign from closed to open, and waited. Usually, people started coming in right away. Farmers, factory workers, early risers, wanting coffee and breakfast. But today, no one came. 6:15, no one. 6:30, still no one. Rosa looked out the window. She saw people walking by, but they did not come in. They looked at the diner. Then they looked away fast, like they were scared. "Where is everyone?" Tommy asked. Rosa knew. She knew exactly why no one was coming. Word had spread. Word always spread in small towns. Everyone knew Rosa had stood up to Chief Hartley. Everyone knew she had protected a Hell's Angel. And now everyone was scared to be seen with her. 7 o'clock. The door finally opened. But it was not a customer. It was Mrs. Chen from the grocery store. "Rosa," she said quietly, "I needed to warn you. Chief Hartley has been calling people, telling them to stay away from your diner, saying you are trouble, that you support criminals." Rosa's heart sank, but she kept her face calm. "Thank you for telling me." Mrs. Chen looked sad. "I am sorry. I wish I could stay, have breakfast. But my husband says we cannot afford to make the chief angry. We need our permits, our licenses. He could make things hard for us." "I understand," Rosa said. And she did. She could not be angry at Mrs. Chen. Everyone had to protect themselves. Mrs. Chen left. The diner was empty again. Tommy came out from the kitchen. "Miss Rosa, what are we going to do?" Rosa straightened her apron. "We are going to wait. Someone will come. They always do." But as the hours passed, no one came. Not one single person. The coffee got cold. The eggs got hard. The bacon sat in the pan. By noon, Rosa had to face the truth. No one was coming. The chief had won. He had turned the whole town against her. She thought about her mortgage, her bills, her savings. How long could she last with no customers? 1 week? 2 weeks? A month? Maybe she should close. Maybe she should sell. Move away. Start over. Somewhere else. Rosa sat down at the counter, put her head in her hands. All those years of work, of sacrifice. Was it all for nothing? Tommy sat down beside her. "Miss Rosa, I do not know what happened yesterday, but I know you, and I know you did the right thing. You always do the right thing." Rosa looked at the young man. He had tears in his eyes. "When I was 17, Tommy said, I got arrested for stealing. I was stupid, angry. My parents kicked me out. No one would give me a chance. Except you. You hired me. Taught me. Believed in me. You saved my life, Miss Rosa." Rosa touched his hand. "You saved yourself, Tommy. You chose to change. But you gave me the chance," Tommy said. "So whatever happens, I am staying. I do not care what the chief says. I am staying right here with you." Rosa felt tears come to her eyes. "Thank you, Tommy." They sat there together, in the empty diner, not knowing what to do next. Then Rosa heard something. A sound from far away. A low rumble, like thunder, but the sky was clear. The rumble got louder, closer. Tommy stood up. "What is that?" Rosa walked to the window. The rumble was so loud now, so loud the window shook, the dishes rattled, the whole diner vibrated. Then she saw them. Motorcycles. Dozens of motorcycles. No, hundreds of motorcycles. Coming down Main Street. A river of chrome and leather and noise. "Oh my God," Tommy whispered. The motorcycles pulled up in front of the diner. They lined the street. They filled the parking lot. They kept coming and coming and coming. Rosa could not breathe, could not think. The engines turned off, one by one, until there was silence. Then the bikers started getting off their bikes. Big men, strong men, all wearing leather vests, covered in patches, Hell's Angels patches. Rosa's hands started shaking. Were they here to hurt her? To cause trouble? The door opened. A huge man walked in. He had a long gray beard, tattoos everywhere, scars on his face. He looked terrifying. Rosa wanted to run. The huge man stopped in front of her. He looked down at her with hard eyes. Then he smiled. A real smile. A kind smile. "You Rosa Mae Jenkins?" he asked. His voice was rough, but gentle. "Yes," Rosa whispered. The huge man held out his hand. "Name is Bear. I am president of the Hell's Angels West Coast chapter. My brother Diesel called me last night from jail. Told me what you did. How you stood up for him. How you protected him from those cops." Rosa shook his hand. It was huge and rough, but warm. "Is Diesel okay?" Rosa asked. Bear's face got dark. "He is in the hospital now. Had a concussion. Broken ribs. Those cops beat him real bad. But he will be okay. Thanks to you speaking up." The judge made the cops take him to the hospital. Made them get him a doctor. Diesel says if you had not said nothing, they would have kept beating him. Might have killed him. Rosa felt dizzy. "I just did what was right." "That is exactly right," Bear said. "You did what was right, and Hell's Angels never forget when someone shows kindness to one of our own." He turned to the door and whistled. More bikers came in. They just kept coming, filling the diner, standing shoulder to shoulder. Bear's voice boomed. "Brothers, this is Rosa Mae Jenkins, the woman who protected our brother Diesel, the woman who stood up to corrupt cops, the woman who has heart." All the bikers cheered. The sound was deafening. Bear held up his hand for quiet. "Now I heard some chicken chief of police is trying to shut Rosa down, trying to scare people away from her diner. That true, Rosa?" Rosa nodded. She could not speak. Bear smiled that big smile again. "Well, that is not going to happen. Not on our watch. Brothers, we are eating breakfast. All of us. Right here, right now." The bikers cheered again. They sat down at tables, at the counter. Some stood because there were not enough seats. Rosa just stood there, stunned. I do not have enough food for everyone." Bear laughed. "Then we will go get more. Tommy, he pointed at the young cook. You got a list of what you need? Tommy nodded fast. Yes, sir. Good. Make it a big list. We are hungry. Bear pulled out a huge roll of cash. He peeled off bills. $20, $50, $100. He kept counting. This enough to start? Rosa stared at the money. There was over $1,000. I cannot take this. You are not taking nothing, Bear said. We are paying for breakfast and lunch, and we are going to be here all day, all week if we need to. However long it takes for people in this town to remember that Rosa Mae Jenkins is good people. The best people. Rosa felt tears running down her face. She could not stop them. A woman biker came up to her. She had short blonde hair and kind blue eyes. Hey, honey, do not cry. We got you. Hell's Angels take care of their friends. Always. Rosa wiped her eyes. I do not know what to say. Say you will make us the best breakfast we ever had, Bear said with a wink. Rosa laughed, actually laughed, for the first time in days. Okay, yes, okay. She got to work. Tommy got to work. They cooked and cooked and cooked. Eggs, bacon, pancakes, toast, hash browns. More coffee than Rosa had ever made. The bikers were loud but respectful. They laughed. They told stories. They were gentle with the furniture, kind to Rosa and Tommy. And people started noticing. People walking by stopped, stared, whispered. They saw 300 Hell's Angels bikers eating breakfast at Rosa's diner. Saw them laughing. Saw them treating Rosa like family. By noon, curious people started coming in. Just to see. Just to watch. Sorry, Bear said to them. Diner is full. You will have to come back later. But he said it nice. Friendly even. Mr. Peterson, the farmer who had stood up for Rosa yesterday, pushed his way in. Bear? That you? Bear turned. His face lit up. Pete! How you been, old man? They hugged. Big backslapping hug. You two know each other? Rosa asked. Mister. Peterson laughed. Bear and I served in Vietnam together. Saved each other's lives more than once. Had not seen him in 20 years. Bear, you old dog. You joined the Hell's Angels? Best family a man could ask for, Bear said. Found my brothers after the war. They gave me purpose. Gave me belonging. Mr. Peterson looked at Rosa. Rosa, I am sorry I did not come in this morning. I was scared. Scared of what the chief would do. But seeing Bear here, seeing all these good people supporting you, I am ashamed I was not braver. It is okay, Rosa said. No, it is not, Mr. Peterson said. But I am here now, and I am going to be here every morning from now on. Chief Hartley does not scare me. Not anymore. More people came. Mrs. Chen came back. Her husband with her. Young people came. Old people came. By evening, the diner was packed with both bikers and townspeople. They mixed together, talked, laughed, shared stories. The bikers were not scary. They were just people. Good people. People with hearts and families and dreams. Rosa worked until her feet hurt, until her back ached. But she had never been happier. She cooked with love, served with joy. This was what her diner was supposed to be. A place where everyone belonged. Where everyone was family. Chief Hartley drove by that evening. Rosa saw him through the window, saw him see all the motorcycles, saw his face turn red, saw him speed away. Bear noticed too. Do not worry about him, Rosa. He tries anything. He deals with us. All of us. That night, after the last biker left, after the last customer paid, Rosa counted the money in the register. She had made more in one day than she usually made in a week. Tommy was washing dishes. Miss Rosa, this was the best day ever. Rosa agreed. It was the best day. maybe the best day of her whole life. She locked up the diner and went home. But she could not sleep. Not because she was worried, but because she was excited, happy, hopeful. Her phone rang. It was late, almost midnight. Who could be calling? Hello? Rosa answered. Is this Rosa Mae Jenkins? Yes, Diesel. Are you okay? I am okay. Still hurting, but okay. I am calling to say thank you. Thank you for standing up for me, for speaking out. You did not know me, had no reason to help me, but you did anyway. That takes real courage. Rosa sat down. Anyone would have done the same. No, Diesel said. No, they would not. Most people look away, stay quiet, protect themselves. But you stepped between me and that chief. Put yourself in danger. For me. A stranger, a Hell's Angel. Do you know how rare that is? How special? Rosa did not know what to say. Diesel continued. Bear told me what happened today. How the whole club showed up. How they filled your diner. Made sure people knew you are good people. That makes me happy. Real happy. Because you deserve it. You deserve every good thing. Thank you, Rosa said quietly. No, Rosa, thank you. You restored my faith in people, in kindness, in humanity. I will never forget what you did. Never. They talked for a while longer, then said goodnight. Rosa hung up and cried. Good tears. This time, happy tears. She thought about her mama, her husband James, her daughter Keisha. She thought about all the hard times, all the struggles, all the pain. But she also thought about the good things. The kind people, the second chances, the unexpected friendships. Life was hard, but life was also beautiful, full of surprises, full of hope. Rosa Mae Jenkins went to bed that night knowing something important, knowing that standing up for what is right is never wrong, that kindness is never wasted, that courage is always worth it. Tomorrow, 300 bikers would come back to her diner, and the next day, and the day after that. For a whole week, they would stay, they would eat, they would protect. They would show the town that Rosa was under their protection. And Chief Hartley, he would leave Rosa alone, forever, because you do not mess with someone who has 300 Hell's Angels watching their back. But Rosa did not know all that yet. Right now, she just knew she was blessed. Blessed with friends she never expected. Blessed with a community that was learning to stand together. Blessed with the courage to do right even when it was hard. And that was enough. More than enough. That was everything. The next morning, Rosa woke up excited. Actually excited. She got dressed faster than usual. Drove to the diner humming a song her mama used to sing. When she pulled up, the sun was just coming up. And there they were. The motorcycles. Dozens of them already parked outside. Bear was sitting on the steps, drinking coffee from a thermos. He smiled when he saw Rosa. Morning, Rosa. Hope you do not mind. Some of us wanted to be here early. Make sure nobody gave you trouble. Rosa felt her heart fill up. You all slept here? Some of us did. In tents out back. Hope that is okay. More than okay, Rosa said. Come on, let me make you real coffee. And breakfast. The days that followed were magic, pure magic. Every morning the bikers came. They filled the diner. They brought their families too. Women and children. The women were strong and kind. The children were polite and sweet. Rosa learned their stories. Bear had been a soldier, lost his whole unit in Vietnam, came home broken. The Hell's Angels gave him a family, when his real family turned away. The woman with blonde hair was named Sage. She had been a nurse. Her husband died in a car crash. She joined the bikers because they understood loss. They understood pain. They became her family. There was a young biker named Phoenix, only 25. He grew up in foster homes, bounced around, never had a real family. The Hells Angels taught him what family meant. Every single biker had a story, a reason, a past. They were not criminals. Well, some had made mistakes, but who had not? They were human beings who had found each other, who took care of each other, who lived by a code of loyalty and honor. Rosa cooked for them all. She learned their favorite foods, made special dishes, treated them like family, because that is what they were becoming. Family. The townspeople started coming back too. Slowly, at first. Nervous. But the bikers welcomed them, talked to them, shared tables with them. Mr. Peterson brought his grandson to meet Bear. The little boy was scared at first, but Bear let him sit on his motorcycle, gave him a toy Hells Angels vest. The boy's face lit up with joy. Mrs. Chen brought her famous dumplings to share. The bikers loved them, asked for the recipe, invited her to their next club gathering. Young people from town started hanging around, talking to the bikers, learning about their motorcycles, about their brotherhood, about their values of loyalty, respect, and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. The diner became the heart of town again, but bigger now, stronger, more united. On the third day, something beautiful happened. Rosa's daughter Keisha came to visit. She had heard what happened, drove 4 hours to check on her mama. "Mama!" Keisha rushed into the diner. "Are you okay? I heard the police chief tried to hurt you. I heard bikers are here. I was so worried." Rosa hugged her daughter tight. "I am fine, baby. More than fine. Come, let me introduce you." She walked Keisha around the diner, introduced her to Bear, to Sage, to Phoenix, to all of them. They hugged Keisha, welcomed her, told her how proud she should be of her mama. "Your mama is a hero," Bear said. "She stood up when no one else would. That takes real strength." Keisha looked at her mama with tears in her eyes. "I always knew you were strong, Mama, but I did not know you were this brave." Rosa felt embarrassed. "I just did what was right." "That is what makes it brave," Sage said. "Doing right when it is hard, when it costs you something. That is true courage." That night, after closing, the bikers threw a party. Right there, in the diner. They brought music, food, joy. They invited the whole town, and people came. So many people came. They danced, they laughed, they told stories, white people and black people, young and old, bikers and farmers and shop owners, all together, all equal, all family. Rosa danced with Bear. He was surprisingly light on his feet for such a big man. "You know," Bear said, "you changed something here, Rosa. You did not just save Diesel. You brought people together. You showed everyone that we are all the same inside, all human, all deserving of kindness." "You did that," Rosa said. "You and your brothers and sisters. You showed this town what real family looks like." Bear shook his head. "We just followed your example. You were brave first. You were kind first. We just supported what you started." On the 5th day, something unexpected happened. Chief Hartley showed up at the diner. Everyone got quiet. The bikers stood up, ready to protect Rosa. But the chief held up his hands. "I am not here to cause trouble. I am here to... Apologize." The whole diner gasped. Chief Hartley looked at Rosa. He looked old suddenly, tired. "Rosa, I was wrong. I was wrong about you, wrong about the bikers, wrong about a lot of things. I let my prejudice cloud my judgment. I let my pride make me cruel. I am sorry." Rosa did not know what to say. The chief continued. "I talked to Diesel. He told me his side of the story, and I looked at the body camera footage from my officers. He was telling the truth. He did not resist. My officers attacked him for no reason. I have fired them. And I am pressing charges. What they did was wrong. Criminal." Bear stood up, walked over to the chief. For a moment, nobody breathed. These two men, these two leaders, face to face. Then Bear held out his hand. "Takes a big man to admit when he is wrong. I respect that." Chief Hartley shook his hand. "Takes a big man to forgive. I respect that too." Rosa started crying. She could not help it. This was too much. Too beautiful. Too perfect. The whole diner started clapping. Chief Hartley stayed for coffee. He sat with Bear, with Rosa, with the townspeople. He listened, really listened, to their stories, their pain, their hopes. He learned that the Hells Angels were not criminals. They were veterans. They were nurses. They were fathers and mothers. They were people who had been hurt by life but chose to help others instead of becoming bitter. On the 7th day, the bikers prepared to leave. They had stayed a whole week, protected Rosa, filled her diner, changed the town forever. Bear hugged Rosa tight. "We have to go, Rosa. We have lives to get back to. Jobs, families. But we will never forget you, and we will be back to visit, to eat your amazing food, to see our friend. You will always have a home here," Rosa said. "Always." Sage hugged her next. "You are our sister now, Rosa. Part of the family. You ever need anything, anything at all, you call us. We will come, no matter where, no matter when." Phoenix hugged her too. The young man was crying. "Thank you for showing me what real courage looks like. I want to be brave like you." "You already are," Rosa said. "You all are." One by one, the bikers said goodbye. They hugged Rosa, hugged Tommy, hugged the townspeople who had become friends. They promised to return, and everyone knew they would keep that promise. The motorcycles started up. The beautiful, thundering sound that had scared Rosa a week ago now made her smile. It was the sound of family, the sound of protection, the sound of love. The bikers rode out of town in a long line, a river of chrome and leather and loyalty. The whole town came out to watch, to wave, to say goodbye and thank you. Rosa stood in front of her diner, waving until the last motorcycle disappeared. Then she turned to look at her diner, her beautiful, small, perfect diner. It was full of people, full of life, full of love. Mr. Peterson came up beside her. "Rosa, you did something special here. You brought this town together, made us better." Mrs. Chen nodded. "You showed us that courage matters, that kindness matters, that standing up for what is right always matters." Tommy put his arm around Rosa. "You are the best person I know, Miss Rosa." Rosa looked at all of them, her community, her family, her home. "We did this together," she said. "All of us. We chose to be brave. We chose to be kind. We chose to be better." That night, Rosa sat in her diner after everyone left. The place was quiet now, clean, ready for tomorrow. She walked around slowly, touching tables, straightening chairs, remembering. She remembered the fear, the uncertainty, the moment she chose to be brave. She remembered Diesel's bloody face, the chief's angry words, the empty diner when the town turned away. She remembered 300 motorcycles, Bear's kind smile, Sage's warm hug, Phoenix's tears. She remembered dancing, laughing, healing, coming together. Her phone rang. It was Keisha. "Mama, I just wanted to call and tell you I love you, and I am so proud of you. You taught me something important this week." "What is that, baby?" "You taught me that one person can make a difference, that standing up for what is right is never wrong. That family is not just blood. Family is the people who stand with you, who love you, who protect you." Rosa smiled. "You are my best gift, Keisha. You and this diner. You are what keeps me going." "Mama, I am moving back home, back to Copper Falls. I want to be near you. I want to help you with the diner. I want to be part of this community. This beautiful, brave, kind community." Rosa felt joy fill her up. "Really? You would do that?" "Yes, Mama. I am coming home. For good." They talked for a long time. Made plans. Dreamed dreams. Then said goodnight. Rosa locked up the diner, walked to her truck. Before she got in, she looked up at the stars. They were so bright tonight, so beautiful. "Thank you," she whispered, "to God, to the universe, to her mama in heaven, to James, to everyone who had loved her and shaped her and made her who she was. Thank you for giving me courage. Thank you for bringing me family. Thank you for showing me that love always wins." She drove home slowly, peacefully. Tomorrow she would wake up at 4 in the morning. She would put on her blue apron. She would cook eggs and bacon. She would pour coffee. She would smile at everyone who came through her door. Because that is what Rosa Mae Jenkins did. That is who she was. A woman of courage. A woman of kindness. A woman who stood up for what was right, even when it was hard. But now she was more than that. She was a legend. A hero. The woman who protected a Hell's Angel and brought 300 bikers to a small town. The woman who changed everything. In the months that followed, Rosa's Diner became famous. People came from all over to eat there, to hear the story, to meet the woman who stood up to corrupt police, who united bikers and townspeople, who showed everyone what real courage looked like. The Hells Angels came back often. Once a month, like clockwork. They would ride into town, 50 or 60 bikes at a time. They would eat at Rosa's Diner. They would visit with the townspeople. They would check on their sister Rosa. Diesel came too. Once he healed, he hugged Rosa so tight. "You saved my life," he said. "I will never forget that." The diner thrived. Rosa hired more people, expanded, added more tables, but she kept the yellow walls, kept the red stools, kept the heart and soul that made it special. Keisha moved back and became co-owner. Mother and daughter, working side by side, teaching the town about love and courage, and standing together. Chief Hartley changed too. He fired all the officers who were cruel or corrupt. He hired good people, kind people. He trained them to protect and serve, not to hurt and intimidate. He became the kind of police chief that town deserved. And Rosa? Rosa just kept being Rosa. Waking up early, cooking with love, treating everyone like family, living proof that one person can make a difference, that courage matters, that kindness changes the world. Years later, when Rosa was much older, people would ask her about that week, that magical week when 300 bikers came to her diner. They would ask her if she was scared, if she regretted standing up to the police, And Rosa would smile. That warm, beautiful smile that made everyone feel loved. And she would say, "I was terrified, but I could not stay quiet. Some things are more important than fear, like justice, like kindness, like treating people right." Then she would add, "And you know what? That decision brought me a family, 300 brothers and sisters, who I never would have met if I had stayed quiet. So no, I do not regret it. Not for one single second." Rosa May Jenkins lived to be 87 years old. She worked in her diner until the very end, and when she passed away, peacefully in her sleep, the funeral was the biggest the town had ever seen. People came from everywhere, townspeople, old customers, new friends, and of course, the Hells Angels. Hundreds of them. They rode into Copper Falls one last time. They wore their leather vests. They cried real tears. They said goodbye to their sister, their hero, their friend. Bear, now old and gray, gave the eulogy. His voice shook with emotion. "Rosa May Jenkins taught us what it means to be brave, what it means to be kind, what it means to stand up for what is right even when the whole world tells you to sit down." He paused, wiped his eyes. "She taught us that family is not about blood. It is about loyalty, about love, about showing up for each other. She was our family, and we were hers. And that made us all richer, all better, all more human." The whole funeral erupted in applause. Then the bikers started their engines. All of them. At the same time, the sound was deafening, beautiful, a final tribute to a woman who changed their lives. They rode through town one last time. Slowly, respectfully, past the diner that still bore her name, past the streets where she had lived and worked and loved. And if you listen carefully, above the roar of the engines, you could almost hear Rosa's voice, warm and kind and strong, saying what she always said. "Come on in, honey. Sit down. Let me get you some coffee. You are family here. You are home." Because that is what Rosa May Jenkins did. She made everyone family. She made everyone feel loved. She made the world a little bit better just by being in it. And that is the greatest legacy of all. The end. The Rosa May Jenkins Foundation. After Rosa passed, Keisha and the Hells Angels started a foundation in her honor, the Rosa May Jenkins Foundation for Courage and Kindness. The foundation helps people who stand up for what is right, people who protect the weak, people who show courage in the face of injustice. They give money, they give support, they give legal help. Every year, on the anniversary of the day 300 bikers rode into Copper Falls, they hold a big gathering. Bikers come from all over the country. They eat at May's Diner, now run by Keisha and her children. They tell Rosa's story. They remember her courage.